Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Mood Room. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. I have a special guest joining me today. The lovely Leslie is with us today. Say hi, Leslie.
Hi.
And we're just going to talk about various different topics that she has a list for us. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about real quick the United incident on the airplane. Did you hear about that? Where the guy got dragged off of the plane. So, like, it's really weird to me, like, this day and age, that the authorities just don't know better when it comes to, like, cameras and things that people have now with the phones. Like, everything is out there. And it's like, it's almost like it's done on purpose. Because can people really be that stupid? You know what I mean? It's like, everyone's watching.
I'm gonna say yes.
Cause like so their stocks like plummeted. They lost like $1 billion in like a day or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, was it really worth it, United? Like, I mean, so they overbooked the flights or something like that. So I hear. I didn't really look into it in full detail. Mm-hmm. They overbooked the flights, and I guess the idea there is that if people cancel or something like that, the flight is still filled. They still make the money. But it's like. You potentially have a situation like this where you have an emergency situation where you got to move people around, and then the people that are on the flight are now potentially getting screwed. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's no better way to come up with that you can deal with these situations, or maybe not overbook. You're still making a ridiculous amount of money, so so to treat your your customers like this is just it's mind-boggling, just in the sense that. The publicity, the bad publicity they're going to be getting from this, it's just not worth it. Like, you treat human beings like this. What is, like, it's almost like, I think people are maybe in denial in the sense that they don't expect to be treated this way. So when this stuff happens, everybody's in shock. But it's like people are just like that. We're just now catching it on camera more now. So I don't know. It's kind of. It's just sad. That was a sad situation. Did you see the video?
I didn't see it. I heard about it though.
Okay, so basically the video is like, okay, they come on the plane, and I guess they supposedly randomly picked 5 people to get off the plane because they needed to bring 5 of their workers on the plane. Don't quote me on the exact number, but this is the gist. 5 of their workers on the plane because they had to go to another area where that plane was going to. Right, so then they decided to pick 5 people, and they take them off the plane or whatever, or they go voluntarily off the plane. But this guy was a doctor, and he's like, I gotta go where I'm going. I need to see my patients. Yeah. So he refused to get off the plane. And we're drinking a little whiskey today, so we're gonna be a little more mellow than we normally are. Normally we get into the news and all this crap, and it gets crazy. We just yelling and screaming and. I mean, it's all in good fun, but it's still. So I get very passionate about some stuff. So I think it's more entertaining to just be myself and do what I normally do.
Please.
So back to that thing. So the guy doesn't want to get off. He's a Asian guy. He's a doctor apparently, and they grab him, and in their grabbing of him, they slam his head in a way that busts his mouth.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and. So then they drag. He starts screaming. Obviously, you get fucking attacked like that.
Oh my god.
And so they drag him out, and you see the blood on his face, and the passenger's like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you doing? It's crazy."
Oh my god.
So then the head guy, the CEO of United, he gets caught saying some things in email or something like that were very. Kind of against the guy that got slammed. Like, support. I support my employees. I have you fully backed.
What?
And then the stock dropped by like $1 billion or something like that.
Hell?
Right. So the stock drops $1 billion. So then he comes out with this apology that now seems like half-hearted. Right. It's like, oh shit, we lost money. Now I got to give a fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really disheartening because. It really lets you know that we're all really just numbers. We all kind of know that, but when you see stuff like this, it's like they don't give a shit. They just want our money. They don't give a shit about how they treat us,
Oh, no.
And it sucks. It really does. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it was really And then, well, one more thing, and then we'll actually get into the list that you brought. But So you heard about the stuff in Syria where we're
Yes.
That's right. So Donald Trump attacked.
God, I can't even believe
Attacked. All right. So now the thing about it is people are talking about we're heading into a potential World War III scenario, right? So, and what they mean is, so Russia is supporting Syria, right?
Yeah.
They're supporting Assad, which is the Syrian president or whatever. So they're the rebels or the dissidents or the ISIS are the ones that are trying to rebel against the Syrian government, which is supported by Assad, right? Which is supported by Russians, I mean. So then obviously the United States is, on the side of, well, not on the side of, but they're, they don't support Assad because they would be against Russia in that sense. It would be against. So, and then China is, but before what I heard recently, China, North Korea has been acting up again.
Oh my
supposedly.
God! Yeah, they're like threatening.
Right. So they have like supposedly they have nuclear stuff now.
Yeah.
So they're like kind of like threatening the United States and saying blah 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 this blah it's like somebody made a really funny thing. They were like, well, if these countries want to go to war, whatever, let's let their leaders fight and leave us alone, leave us out of it. you Trump, you want to go to war with and Korea wants to drop bomb? Okay, you and Kim Jong Un can fight it out in the ring, and we can all just stay out of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, we can't really afford to have loose lips at the moment.
That's very true.
So
and ultimately, it looks like, and it's the same old thing again. Syria is getting off or is off of the U.S. dollar, right?
Yeah.
They have resources, just like Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, and all these people. So it's like, what's the real deal? Is it more of this? Because in the United States, if you're really paying attention, it looks like on the surface that we are slowly like taking over the world. Like, but not in a military way. We're doing it in a covert, indirect. Let me bring democracy to your
bullshit.
Yes,
way.
they're using our monetary system to take over the world, and it's only like a handful of countries that are not on the dollar, like a handful, and they were resisting, and then like they got killed. Like Gaddafi, they were trying to get off the dollar and have their own currency, and we had to go. Oh, he's an evil dictator, and we got to take him out, and blah blah blah. And I'm like. It's gonna sound like I'm like against America, but I'm. This is the greatest country in the world. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. But it's like we've stopped. We're the only country that's dropped an atomic bomb on anybody. We're the only country that is infiltrating and going into all these other countries and manipulating them.
Well,
and
they just set off a bomb in Syria. They said the biggest one.
I heard that happened today, right?
Yeah, the biggest one than like Hiroshima.
Holy shit!
That's bad.
I didn't hear about this today, so I gotta check it out.
I was watching the news before I came here, actually.
Yeah, somebody told me that they would. Yeah, some really. It's not nuclear, but it's some next level.
Yeah, it's the biggest bomb next to something nuclear.
Oh my god!
Yeah, since Hiroshima, like that's
a
shit. Big deal.
So was it on like a major city and they just wiped it out, or was it like? Do you know the size of the bomb or the impact that it had? I was out in the world today, so I didn't really. I heard it happened like around 12 or something like that today.
Yeah.
This is, I wonder how the world's going to react to that.
My mom sent me an article actually on it about the bombing in Syria. She said.
Yeah, so it's. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that article. I heard about they dropped some crazy bomb.
It's not good. It's not good.
I think we're gonna switch gears now because I don't want to talk about it. I'll talk about it on Sunday or something. Just because I don't. Today wasn't really supposed to be a political day. We wanted to get into a little bit more, just not political crap, not depressing political crap. I'm gonna call it because it is depressing. Let's just try to live our lives and we're not going to ignore it, but we're going to just move on and be mellow and just enjoy the whiskey. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at Leslie's questions. We're going to get into the questions here and we're going to just run through them and whatever happens, happens. So why don't you just read off the first question and then you can read them off as we get done with each thing. So what do we got? So what's the first one is, go ahead.
What makes us human?
So all right. So, what makes us human? So you obviously this is something you've thought about, and so the way I'm going to approach it is, so what separates us from animals, and what if that is that what you're kind of thinking, or is it more of a broad Or is it like our like because we were the most advanced species, that sort of thing, or is it more
kind
like
of, yeah, like our interactions with each other, what makes us human?
Well, it's weird because in terms of our interactions with each other, we're cruel to each other. It's really bad. Like animals don't even do the shit that we do.
No.
I mean, they eat each other, but we kind of do in a different way. Okay, so I'll take it. I'll try to do it from like what we describe it,
whatever you think about it.
A scientific standpoint,
However you think about it.
I don't. So I guess it's sentience, awareness. You aware of yourself and your sentience. And, you know. So take a cat for instance. A cat is just going on instinct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
But we are obviously much more advanced than that. So in terms of where we fall on the scale of evolution. Our sentience and our intelligence and our awareness is what makes us human. Now, unfortunately, we have become not only human, but we've become also monsters. Monsters in the sense that we don't care about each other the way we should.
Yeah.
We don't look out for each other the way we should. And the sad thing is, I think in a general sense, most people are good. But the people that we've allowed to be in charge of our lives, they don't have our best interest in mind, and we become such a sheep society that we don't challenge these people. But yeah, I think that. Well, what do you think makes us human? What do you think?
Well, I think emotions.
Okay, that's a good part. That's a good thing I didn't think of.
Every human is capable of doing good. Every single human is capable. Even if people have the tendency to do wrong, we are all capable of the most intense, what makes us human, emotions. Things such as like love.
That's a good point.
Which is a really powerful like emotion, or compassion. Mm-hmm. Those are things that are not necessarily instinct driven. I mean, when you think of things that are instinct driven, you think of like kind of like obligation.
Right, like I got to eat today, so let me
just
make sure that happens.
It's a natural thing that you just fulfill, but you don't really think about it too deeply. You kind of just do, as opposed to feeling and doing because of how you feel. Like love motivates you instead of your instinct.
So what do you think causes? This is too broad a question, but why do you think that people have allowed? Why do you think human beings have allowed themselves to become so callous towards one another? What do you think is one of the driving forces behind that?
Well, I feel like that's been since the beginning of time. Like, I mean, there's been negative emotions such as hate, jealousy, anger. That's always been
it's
a
just
constant.
Part of who we are.
It's always been a constant thing in a person, and I think nowadays why it's that way is because we're so distracted.
That's so true.
We're so distracted we are so not engaged. We're not in tune with who we are as people. Yeah. And when you get distracted, you lose your sense of guidance.
That's very true.
You lose yourself as a person. You forget what it's like to love. You forget what it's like to have compassion because you're so based on your instincts. Oh, work, food. Provide,
and it's so funny you mentioned that because people, they do their whole lives based on that.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't realize that they're not living. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because we are now in a society that is based on money. Yeah. And so everybody's chasing money and they're not living. So you go to a job, in most cases a job you're not happy with, and you spend a vast majority of your life at that place away from your family, away from doing the things that you may enjoy doing because of money. And then that same system goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how the world's being taken over by it. It's been ingrained in all the societies of the world where they have to chase money to be happy. And money doesn't bring happiness. Any rich person will tell you that, That doesn't mean it's not nice to have it. I'm not saying that because it frees you up to be able to do things. But unfortunately, it's made us kind of not care about each other. And it's a shame. So, let's take the serious thing. And I hate to go back to that, but let's just take that. Imagine if You know, so you have the UN, right?
Yeah.
United Nations, right? So it's all the major countries of the world. That's their. So imagine if all those countries just sent in people, right? Whatever it be, military, whatever, in a non-violent fashion, but overwhelmingly, the world is sending this in now, right? But being backed up by military or whatever, but just we're sending them in. We got supplies. We're rebuilding. We want to start over, and just flooded that area with positiveness. What would be the outcome? You know what I mean? It's like, what do you? So it's like people. I think they don't appreciate how powerful love can be. You know what I mean? So it's just take like if all the people just marched on Syria and just with supplies and we want to help, we want to stop this, and but you know, so you know that sort of thing is something that just doesn't even exist anymore in terms of actual thought of strategy. You know what I mean? It's not even we got to just bomb. It reminds me of how doctors deal with cancer. It's like, we just got to cut it out and give it chemotherapy. There's other ways of dealing with it.
Definitely.
But yeah, so in terms of making us human, I didn't think of the emotion thing. That's definitely something that I would agree with you. Like the sentience I mentioned, the awareness of ourselves, our intelligence, obviously, and like our emotions. I think that pretty much sums up the essence of what we would consider the reason why or what makes us human. So yeah, did you want to add anything else there?
No, I mean that's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, so what's the next point you wanted to hit?
The fight or flight response.
Okay, so assuming that is, let's say, specifically when it comes to feeling threatened and defending yourself, or is it more like there's a situation where, like, say your house is on fire and do you stay and try to put it out, or do you run away and just let it burn? Is it more is it all of that, or is it really like just the general fight or flight, like in a general sense? Because whenever I see these things, I try to like narrow it down so I can just kind of pinpoint.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's a really incredible like phenomena. Like I remember like doing some reading about it and like what your body goes through when there's a stressful situation. Okay, so
I'll give you an example of one that I had, and I don't. At this stage of my life, I consider myself weak if I get into a fight. Meaning, what I mean to say is, I should be smart enough at this stage of my life to avoid having that happen, whether diffusing it or whatever. And then sometimes you're just in situations where it just sucks. You know, you just got to do it. Okay, so I was at work, and one of the jobs that I was doing was I was tearing tickets at the movie theater, right? And at this time, we really heavily policed not allowing outside food into the theater. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a guy come up, and he's got food. He bought some stuff from the concession stand too, and I said, "I'm sorry, but you can't bring it in here." I'm not, I get it. The stuff in the theater is expensive. I'm talking about, but my thing is, sneak it in. I'm not gonna OD check your bag's hard body. You know what I mean? I'm not some movie Nazi. Yeah. I'm gonna do the basics though. You can't walk in there with a pizza, and they've tried.
A pizza?
I swear to God, walk in with a pizza.
That's ridiculous. That's
I'm like, and so I'm like, in that
audacity.
In that one, I was like, why are you doing this to me? No. Like, seriously? Had another guy come in. I had another guy come in with a bucket of popcorn from another theater from across. What? Dead ass. I'm not even kidding.
What the hell?
Okay, so the guy, he has the food or whatever. So I'm sorry you can't bring that. So he goes, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with it?" And I know I'm gonna take a drink before I respond.
Oh boy.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with it? Is what he says to me.
Wow.
And so it's like, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm not trying to start. You know what I mean?
Trying to do your job.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you coming here giving me? Okay, so this is what actually happened. I said, well, nothing now because you can just leave. Now I don't want your money.
Good.
If you got to come in me swearing and all that, I don't want your money, right? Okay, so now remember we're talking about flight or fight, right? Okay, so and he bought a slushie, okay? Okay, so unfortunately I saw the future and I knew he was going to throw that shit at me. No. I did. I knew he was going to. And now, so what you got to understand is the lobby's full of people. Families, just people. I mean, full of people. It's not like it is now. It's full of people. So I'm like, I don't want your money anymore. So then he's like, I came here to see a movie. I'm going to see a movie. That's what he says to me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no, you're not. You came up here swearing and all that. You go get a refund or whatever and leave. I don't want you here anymore. No, I'm going to see my movie. So brush this past me.
Ooh,
right? Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so at this point, my adrenaline is, I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to lay it out because I'm trying to just create a full scenario.
Yeah.
So, all right, so now at this point, I'm actually thinking about what's gonna happen next. So I'm like, am I gonna be able to diffuse this to not get into a? Because this guy's angry.
Yeah.
Am I gonna be able to diffuse this so it doesn't get into a fight? Is it gonna get into a fight? You know what I mean? Am I gonna have to defend myself? So I'm looking around, seeing what can be used as part of this. Is I'm like, what am I gonna do? Okay. So he goes up, and I said, all right, well, guess I'm calling security. Right now, the thing about security is they take forever to get there. So it's whatever. The situation's gonna have to be dealt with by me. But I'm just trying to use that as a deterrent.
Yeah.
If I say security, maybe he'll stop. He doesn't stop. Okay, so I start walking up the ramp, and then he stops because he sees me go on the call, whatever. So then he comes back down, and so because I didn't want him to engage with my employees, I came back down also. So then I'm like, all right, you're leaving, right? He's like, no, I'm going to see my movie. So then when he had went past me, and so now he's outside in the lobby again. So then I was standing in the walkway here, so he'd have to like almost push me out of the way. So he goes up, right? And so then I kind of step in to block him, and he, so then we butt shoulders or whatever, right? That was my fault. I did that on purpose, and you know what happened next, right? The slushie was in my face.
Ooh.
Right? Now.
Ooh, what do you
okay,
do?
now. So, we're talking about flight or fight, right? So, in this case, I was completely driven by anger. Like, there wasn't, like, at that point, there wasn't any, like, thought process of what should happen next.
Oh,
I didn't have that. Like, so I grabbed him. I didn't punch him though. Like we were in the lobby, it was like kids in the lobby and all that. It was bad. Like it was not a good scene. So there's kids in the lobby, or whatever. So I grabbed him and first, no, that's not true. At first, I was in shock. Shock in the sense of, did this nigga really just throw slushie in my fucking face? Are you kidding me? Really? So I'm in shock for a second. Then I got angry, and then I grabbed this big guy too. He wasn't like I was big, but he was big too. So I grabbed him. And now the adrenaline's rushing and all that, so I was able to kind of push him out of the theater, right? Now, at this point, I think my employees had actually called security, whatever. One of my employees did. So, then we're outside of we're in the mall lobby there, right in front of the theater, you know. And so he actually I'm sorry, I had him in a headlock. That's how I got him out of the theater. I had him in a headlock. I pulled him out of the theater in a headlock. Then I let him go, and I said, I'm about to really hurt you. You better get the fuck out of here. You're like, okay. So then he pushed me, right? So listen what happened. So when he pushed me, it was like he was pushing against a wall. Like he pushed himself. Okay, so imagine this.
I get it.
Yeah, so you push this, you're just pushing yourself away.
Away from you.
Right, so he pushed me, but he didn't move me. He moved himself. So then he kind of just like, did you not see that you can't do nothing with me? So you better leave. So then he ended up leaving. So of course, right. So so then of course security's already gone. I mean, the guy is gone, and the security shows up. I'm like, I don't need you anymore, thanks. But anyway, so fight or flight. It's like I don't know. Like I've seen people some of them just black out, and they just are in a state of complete and utter anger. And so you like, and this is a lot of times where you can have like I see what crimes of passion.
Oh, yes.
Where people just, it's like they're
Act
just
out,
done and they don't
just
give a
right
shit.
there.
They're done.
Yeah.
If there's a knife there, they're grabbing it. That type of shit. I actually had a situation with a close friend of mine where something like that happened, and it was in somebody did 10 years behind this.
Damn.
But I don't want to get into that on that. But I think each person is different. It's not like an instinctual. Everybody has the same reaction to situations.
Definitely not.
So like some people are just not. They're not violent. They're not fighters. They're not, and I'm not either. It's just I don't consider myself a fighter. I don't want to get into any fights. My age. I'm like, leave me alone. You win. I don't care. But in terms of like the question, I think it's just it depends on the person and what the situation is. And like for instance, if I can tell you right now, if somebody like, let's say we were walking down the street, right, and somebody like hit you or try to rob you or something like that.
Oh.
A natural reaction is going to be to defend and fight. There is not going to be anything you think about. You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. Now, I'm not a fighter. I'm not saying that, but it's just even like, and I remember because like a lot of times I think about if I were to get robbed at gunpoint, like so it's like the smart thing is to give your wallet up. You know, it's not worth it. You know. Yeah. But I have to tell myself that it's not worth it because I'm like, you're not getting my wallet, so go ahead and shoot me. I'm just not having it. But that's really dumb. That's really dumb.
You have to push yourself, give
your wallet up. You know. But it's just there's some things I don't do well with, and you know, I don't like bullies. I don't like people that like I've had situations where my sisters have been like hit by guys. Oh yeah.
Hell no. Mm-mm.
And I don't think about what's gonna happen to me in that situation. I just go handle it. Yeah. You know, and I'm not a tough guy. That's not what I'm saying. For those that are listening, I'm not saying I'm sitting here acting like I'm some tough guy. It's just when certain people you care about are getting hurt, it is what it is.
Yeah,
you know, I don't.
Definitely.
So what are your thoughts on the flight or fight thing? Have you ever been in a scenario where you were going to get into a fight or you felt in danger? I can tell you one thing though, when you if I hear like gunshots or something like that.
Oh yeah. That's a flight.
Yeah. So we live in Poughkeepsie and that happens. So I remember there was a point where there was a gunshot and it was really close and we just hit the floor. It's like actually downstairs at George's house. Did you know about a bullet coming through his living room?
I remember him talking about that before.
Yeah, so basically, all right. So the front of the house, there was and it's sad because we've been in the house. We've been desensitized to it because there was so much at one point that we just didn't react. It was crazy. We didn't even react. No, they're shooting again. You know, it was like it was bad. So I don't know what the situation, but there was a gunshot, and the next morning he got up, he saw there was a hole in a gunshot in his front window.
Oh boy!
And he had a hutch there though, like a you know what a hutch is? Like the wood display case thing. It's like it's kind of like a china cabinet, but you put like whatever in it. Something. Okay. All right, so the bullet hit that, and then I think it fell, but it went through the window. Didn't shatter the window, but there was a hole in the window, and it hit that and went down. Wow. But yeah, so there's certain things that just trigger you're gonna run or you're just gonna duck or whatever, and I think that's just a natural So I guess the scenario determines how you're gonna react depending on it also depends on you too, because some people it depends
on the person.
Yes, definitely. I've seen some people that just they just stand by that you get beat up. I've seen that too.
Oh my God.
What I mean? That's
people take video all the damn time.
And that's sad. I've seen some stuff where it's like, that's really not cool. You're sitting on the sidelines recording. What do you think about? And we talked about this in one podcast before, but when it comes to let's say a woman hits a man, right? Women will argue that a man should never, ever, ever hit a woman, no matter what, right? What are your thoughts on that? I'll give you mine afterwards. I don't want to influence what you think about it. So, what do you think about it?
I'm not really like. I'm not one for cruelty, honestly, and I mean, I have seen a video where a woman is hitting this man with like some sort of like stick, like really hitting him, and I just. Honestly, like, I think it's terrible. I mean, in defense, I could understand, or, if someone, like, really severely did you wrong, I mean, not that I'm saying that's right, I can understand that kind of response, but if it's just purely out of cruelty and to subdue someone, then that's not really, like, acceptable. Like, no matter who or what gender you are, like, it's just, I don't think it's okay.
Here's the thing. No one has their right to put their hands on anybody. That's just about you want to consider us all equals, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Let's say a woman is attacking a man. What I will say is no. I would prefer for you to not be punching that woman in her face. I don't want that. Yeah. That's just to be. Men are stronger than women. I don't know if they want to be in denial about that. And obviously, you're gonna have cases where some women are stronger than some. But generally speaking, men are stronger than women. Yeah. I mean, most women would go along with that. That's just. no one's trying to be superior. Just what it is. So, what I want is for the man to subdue her. I want him to grab her and put her down and hold her until somebody can come in and just stop her from hitting him. Yeah. And I saw a video recently where a woman, he was telling her, leave me alone, stop hitting me. So, I mean, she's punching the dude in his face. And then he fucked her up. Now, it's hard for me to be mad at him because he was desperately trying to get her to stop.
Yeah.
Desperately, stop hitting me. You're gonna get hurt. Stop hitting me. You're gonna get hurt. She's punching him. She's not just doing no lighthearted shit. She's punching him. And then when he finally snapped, he snapped, and he didn't stop. He didn't stop.
Oh shit!
I don't know how. I don't know. Crazy. I don't know how I feel about it. It sucks because, the idea that men are stronger than women is like, you want to try to hold men at a higher regard, but it's like, at what point do you?
Yeah, draw the line.
Right. So it's like when you open up that can of worms, in my opinion, you cannot expect people to react the way you want them to react. I mean, what I mean to say is, people get into rage, and I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just telling you I'm just saying what it is. Yeah. Right. Oh, that reminds me of something I want to talk to you about too. And so then they just do what they're gonna do. They they don't stop. So it's like. You keep your hands to yourself. You can do you can do this all day. You can yell and scream and all that. I don't care about that. But you put your hands on somebody, you kind of,
yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the next one, unless do you have any more thoughts on the flight or fight, or do you?
I mean, I think that it's pretty much like based off like instinct. One, two, it can be driven by some sort of passion that you have for something.
That's true.
And it can be driven by a strong belief.
That's true. More people died under religion than anything else around here.
I think those are huge triggers. Definitely.
Yeah, that's accurate. So all right. So I was talking to my friend about this recently, and I'm like, at first I was like, I don't care, but then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I can't have that. Okay, so recently there's either been talks or a law been passed about women being able to go outside without a shirt.
Oh,
boobs out, and because it's the idea there is that
I've heard about that too.
It's something about men can do it, why can't we do it, right? And on the surface of it, I'm like, you're right. If we can do it, you should be able to do it. Unfortunately, our society has made women's breasts
sexualized.
Well, I mean, women can get turned on by men's chests too, but they've really like made breasts like a major sex. It's almost like we can't have breasts out because men can't control themselves. And it's like, that's not fair to women though. Get control of it. This reminds me of the shit in these other countries where women have to wear that full burqa or whatever shit.
Yeah.
They do that because the religion says that, or something like says that the women should not be doing anything to arouse the men. It's like, no, they can wear whatever they want as long as it's decent, and the men need to fucking control themselves. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe this is a law passed in I want to say New York, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. I don't remember, but one of the states has this law. And they've passed it, and now women can wear their. So okay, so what do you think about that? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's a bad idea? Are you for it? So it's nice to have a woman's perspective. I like use that guys here that so I can't even have guys are be like, oh yeah, I don't go ahead. They want the boobs out, go ahead. But I have some thoughts about it. What do you think?
I mean, technically anybody could do what they want. Does it mean it's okay? I necessarily don't agree with that. I mean, I can understand you wanted to express yourself, right? Mm-hmm. But I think when it comes to expressing yourself, I think if you kind of like, I wouldn't say like intrude, or if you're doing it for like a you're gonna get attention. Like, yes, bottom line, like, there's an expectation, and you have to understand that before you know what you're getting yourself into.
So one of the arguments that women have is, I should be able to wear whatever I want, and men should just learn to deal with it and control themselves. So let me paint a little picture for you. College campus, right? You got a girl who's in a bikini running around. That's what she's a student, though, right? She's running around in a bikini, whatever. So they have a party at night. You get two girls. One of them's drunk in bikini, and one of them is fully clothed. And all right. So, who do you think is more likely to get
It's so obvious.
accosted, if you will. Okay, so obviously,
Yes.
all I'm saying is, so you wear whatever you want, but understand that it has
repercussions.
I'm not saying it's right for the men to do that. I'm not saying that, but let's be realistic.
People are who they are.
So you're gonna just run out this? So it's like I should be able to just tape millions of dollars to my body and walk through the street and not have to worry about nobody bothering me. Sure, you have the right to do that, but somebody's probably gonna rob you. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. You know.
Definitely.
So here's my thought on the breast thing, right? So at first I was like, you know what? I don't go right ahead. I don't care. If you want to have your breasts out, go ahead. But then I start thinking about if I had a daughter, and I can't have my daughter because like in terms of like let's say you go to the beach, right? Your son could be out there with a shirt off.
Yeah.
Your 14-year-old daughter who may be developed can also have her shirt off.
Yeah.
I don't like it. There's no way I'm letting my daughter do that. No. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry, but so technically, the law would say your daughter could be out there with her shirt off. I can't. I personally can't handle that.
I mean, even honestly, even when you're a guy and you have your shirt off, girls think about that too. They're like, "Oh wow, look at this guy. He has his shirt
Absolutely.
off."
I actually had a situation recently where somebody had their shirt off, and I was dying. Yeah, I was like, "God damn, you're hot! I want it now."
You know, like. Not all the time is it favorable either. People will be like, wow, are you kidding me? It's not that hot out. Why do you need to have your shirt off? You're showing off.
Right.
So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a male or female thing. People are going to think the way they think. And you can't really stop people from being how they are.
Well, I think part of it is women have been over-sexualized by men. And they're trying to get away from what men have laid out for them. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks because... It's been so ingrained in our society with the thing with the boobs, and it just, you know, men, I don't know. It's a double standard. I don't care as much if a woman is oogling my son.
Yeah.
It's a double standard, though. It just is. I feel like I have a better, and this may be wrong, but I feel like I have a better grasp or control of that scenario than I would a guy oogling my daughter. You know, so...
I mean, I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but I don't really find people expressing themselves sexually to be appropriate, in my opinion.
In public, right?
Yes, especially in public. Like, okay, in the bedroom, let your freak fly. Like, do whatever the hell you want.
Well, here's a good example of that, right? So we went to the parade one year, right? The Pride Parade.
Yeah.
And there's families there, and you know, people supporting and all that, right? Do you know what else was there? There was an older woman there, and one of the floats had her shirt off. So here's the thing about that. It's the same thing we were just talking about. It's why she's doing it. You know, but you now are potentially alienating the children and the families that are there supporting that don't necessarily have, you know, gay people in their families or anything. They're just supporting. But then they got to subject their children to that. So it's like I think personally you do a disservice to the cause when you are out there being that sexual. You know, I get it, but you gotta be smarter than that, I think.
Of course.
But I also understand the other side of it, where it's like women are trying to break away from the grasp of male dominance when it comes to sex. You know what I'm saying?
Well, honestly, I don't think that's gonna help. That's only gonna make things
I would agree.
worse.
I totally agree. It's gonna make it. I agree.
Women are gonna be sexualized even more. You're just you're not helping your cause, you know? It's like saying, I'm a lady, but let me have my tits out.
Okay, so what do you think could be done in that direction then to try to help the cause? So that's a hard one, though, because, you know, men can get away with so much more than women in terms of their bodies and all that. And it's
with their bodies, yes. But I think that if you really want to express who you are, what better way would it be, you know, intellectually? Mm-hmm. Definitely. You can make such a more wholesome impact on a society if you use your your intellectual mind instead of your body.
There was an incident where speaking of the same vein as the parade, and there was gay guys that were dressed in like sound clown suits going into churches and showing they fucking ass, and I was fucking pissed about that. So obviously I'm a gay man, so so what that did for me was okay, you already had, most religions don't accept they don't accept homosexuality, right? So, to go into a fucking church and disrespect that church like that and put that image of what gays are about into the minds of people that you're trying to have support you and not... What are you doing? That's so stupid! I was pissed when I heard about that.
You're ruining it.
You're absolutely setting yourself back. Exactly. It reminded me of I was at the Trump rally, right? And most of the people there, I went there because I wanted to see, because everybody had this idea that, it was violent against certain races and all that kind of stuff, and that's because of the fucking TV, but whatever. I went there, I wanted to see it. So I was interacting with the people there, and everybody was very nice. I just had one small incident where we asked the guy a price for something, and he kind of got stank with us, but it was minor. But then, later on, I come to find out there was a group of young black guys that were there harassing the people that are supporting Trump. I don't even, cursing, you dumb fuck, so it's like, it's the same exact thing. If you want to have a debate about what the Trump situation, approach them from a debate intellectual standpoint. Don't go out there just showing your ass, because you're reinforcing the very thing that you're fighting against.
Exactly.
You dummies.
Exactly.
And if I wish I could, I swear if I was there to interact with that, I would have pulled those guys aside, like, you guys are really stupid. But, I wasn't. Anyway, yeah, so on that specific issue, I can't handle it when it comes to... I can handle it when it comes to adults, as long as it's not over the top. I don't want to be walking down Fifth Avenue when the titties are just out. I know that sounds weird, and most guys will be like, oh, but it's like, I don't want kids
You're not gonna respect someone like that.
No, I don't want this
shit.
Right. So it's like I don't want my kids seeing that. I don't want my daughters to think it's okay, because it's gonna influence your daughters and think, well, I should be able to do that too. But I'm not crazy. I get it, but it's just there got to be a better way.
I agree.
All right. So what do you think about the women's march? Do you remember that they had the women's march against Trump? Do you remember that? So it was like a worldwide thing.
Yes.
So what do you think of? What are your thoughts on that? I got some thoughts about it, but did you think that it had an impact? Do you think it was worth it? Do you think it was a good thing? What do you think?
I mean, being a woman, I can understand, but when it comes to things of that nature, I kind of have like a realistic view on things. Mm-hmm. And I understand that this world, it really is a man's world. Mm-hmm. And I feel that as a woman, no matter how much you try to advocate something, no matter how hard you try to prove your worth as a woman and to have a voice, to have an opinion, not everybody's going to agree with that. You can't change people's hearts. And we're still living in a man's world when it comes to it. So, yes, I think it's a great thing that they're trying to express themselves intellectually. Mm-hmm. I can respect that. But you have to be realistic at the same time. You can't change the world and their views because you feel a certain way. Yeah. That's not realistic. Because it is what it is. And guess what? Trump's still president.
That's very true.
So it doesn't, I give them credit for really trying and, in that way, but it still is what it is. Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. I think that it was a very good thing to have happened in the sense that we haven't seen a movement like on this scale. I don't think ever. This was a worldwide. Wow. Yeah, it wasn't just like it wasn't just America. It was numerous countries were out there with women were out. So it gave me hope that. At the very least, if anything good can come over Trump presidency, people are paying attention now. People did not, They better be paying attention.
They never paid attention the way they are now. They just didn't. So I'm hoping that this is a precursor to a future where people are actually truly engaged in what's happening to them. Yeah. So that gave me hope. What I did not like about it was there have been concerns when it comes to the very thing that they were out there for before Trump, and it's like where was the motivation then? You know what I mean? So it's like there's been stuff happening and stuff that continues to happen that would warrant that sort of a movement, and it makes it a little bit less genuine for me, because it's like if you're going to be out there fighting the good fight, then be out there fighting the good fight. Don't pick and choose where you want to fight. But I was happy that it happened. Don't misunderstand me. I was really happy, really like. showed me that people can really come together the way they need to, and
Yeah.
put their petty differences aside and just be out there supporting each other. But I hate getting on. I don't want to do politics today. I know it just happens.
No,
Yeah. So that I.
Can we take a bathroom break?
We could take a bathroom break. We're gonna take a bathroom break.
Definitely on that whiskey.
We're recording again. I was just doing a test. We're going back to pause for the bathroom break. Single job. And we're back. We had a little whiskey break for the bathroom, right? And so we're going to continue our discussion. I think we kind of covered. We don't have a little tangent there on the last one, but we'll go to the next question here. And I just like having you read them because they're your questions. But let's see here. Let's see. The phone is okay. So we're on question number 3. No, we're on 4. Oh my goodness, that's
wow. I guess we
whoa.
are
The next one is big. So go ahead. What's the next topic?
Intuition.
That's what we did. Oh, it is intuition.
Yeah.
You're right. All right, intuition. Okay.
That's a deep one for me. I'm always so curious to know about like other people's
can I have
feelings.
you? Okay, so can I have you lead a discussion in the beginning so I can get a better understanding of exactly, because I'm not sure how to approach this one.
It's pretty broad.
Yeah, it is. Intuition, like.
What
were you thinking about when you put that question on the list?
Well, when I think about intuition, I think about okay, so we have our 5 senses, right? Mm-hmm. We have touch, taste, sound, sight, touch. I already said that. I'm special. But anyways, what I'm supposed to be getting at is, I feel like intuition is like that 6th sense. Mm-hmm. Kind of like you're like
almost like a foresight.
Kind of. Not really so much about like telling the future, but having like certain feelings that you can't explain about a situation. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, I feel like deeply like instinctual, but we don't really like. It's hard to kind of harness that.
You know what I think? I'm glad you. All right, so I gotta. Go. So this is what I think. All right, so I think part of that of intuition is developed from your interaction with a certain group of people. So what I mean to say is, when it comes specifically with that group of people, you kind of get a sense of what they're gonna do, what they're not gonna do, how they're gonna react, how they're not gonna react. Yeah. So you get a little bit of foresight into situations in terms of what that person's going to do, what they may not do, because you've been around them and you've seen them in action.
That's a good explanation.
And then, specifically within your group, though. Yeah. So there's obviously going to be situations outside of that where it's kind of like, something's
not right.
Right, so it's like, but it's more prevalent within your group of people, because when you know somebody, you know what they do, what they don't do, you kind of get almost tell the future. Obviously, you get surprised, but you kind of know where people are going to lean and all that kind of stuff, what they're going to do. So it's like, let's say you have whatever scenario it is, and you're like, okay, you kind of know what this person's going to do. You kind of know what that person's going to do. You kind of know what this person's going to do. But that's a tough one because it's a word that it's hard to pinpoint and like get verbalize a real understanding of the actual word. But it's like, I'm going to actually look up the word and like read the definition.
The actual definition. Here we go.
So let's see. Oh, you have a nicer voice than I do. What's this? Okay, so
the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning.
Really?
Instinct, intuitiveness.
Interesting. Huh. I didn't think of it that way.
That is, I think, that is the best description.
A thing that one knows, considers likely from instinctive feelings rather than conscious reasoning. That's interesting.
It's funny, and I brought this topic up because the person that I think about the most when I think about intuition is my mother.
Okay.
I've literally never met anyone in my life who has been able to kind of predict people's motives like my mom. And I think, honestly, that kind of comes with experience.
So you're saying your mom is a very intuitive person?
Yeah, she is. With, like, oh my God, like, so many people. It's crazy, like, how accurate my mom is sometimes. with like going off, sensing people's, just definitely their motives and intentions. My mom just cuts through it. She just sees through it. And I find that so fascinating because like that is something that I've been like over time like harnessing and listening to my intuition more often.
Okay.
Trying to go with my gut.
Now, do you think that let me tell you something. So, in my dealings, I'm 42 years old. So, in my dealings with people, you talked about it being something that you have a better understanding of as you get older. So, I can tell you that when it comes to going with your gut, right?
Yeah.
In my experience, it's best to go with your gut.
Of course.
So, so if you sense that somebody's doing you wrong or you feel like something bad's going to happen, go with your gut. And it's sad because one of the biggest struggles I have in life, actually, is not allowing bad people to change who I am. Right? Now, if I were to listen to my gut, I wouldn't be as vulnerable as I would not listening to it.
Interesting.
And it sucks because, in a general sense, I'm a very kind and giving person, right? So, but what ends up happening is, I always give people way too much chances to correct it, so they end up hurting me more.
I understand.
Because of it.
Yeah.
And it,
the
but I don't.
benefit of the doubt.
Right. So it sucks because I know better based on my experiences with people and my gut, and it's like don't let other people influence your decisions when it comes to new people. Give people the chance. Give them the chance. But it's
hard.
It sucks.
It's
I
hard.
hate giving people that have fucked me over the power to change who I am. I hate it. But at the same time, there comes a point where it's like, so how much are you going to put up with?
Yeah.
It sucks. It really. I hate it. Because it's like you got somebody that could potentially really just need your help and would really do the right thing and not take it for granted. And you're not going to give them that chance because of people that have fucked you over in the past. It sucks. It's one of the biggest struggles I have, actually. And I got all these crazy defense mechanisms up because of it. It's like I have a hard time there's times I wake up in the night like is somebody stealing from me? Like that's sort of people. Like I've had people where they had no place to go. I took them into my house. They stole me. I'm talking about game systems. Just stole this shit. Came in and stole thousands. Stole my wallet that had my rent money and shit like that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I got plenty of stories like that. And so what I'm saying is like but now I'm paranoid about people and I don't want to be that way. It sucks.
No, I get it.
It sucks. But I like the idea of looking at intuition in the sense of going with your gut. That has more validity to my understanding of the word.
Yeah.
Like I just like that. That definition makes sense to me. I get it. But I guess the gist is don't ignore your own thoughts. If you got thoughts out there, that doesn't mean you have to always act on them. You don't always gotta be a crazy paranoid person.
It to yourself.
But just make sure you pay attention to what you think about a situation, and try to best protect yourself from getting hurt as much as you can. Obviously, you're gonna want if you're the type of person that helps people, you still do it. But just be aware. Don't leave your wallet out if you don't trust this person. Like I said, I've dealt with a lot of people that have tried to cover from drugs.
Ooh, you just brought out an interesting point. If you don't trust someone, and I thought about something that's like really key to like harnessing your intuition. And I think for me personally, for me, a big one are vibes. The vibes that I pick up on people help guide my intuition in a way.
I totally agree with that. So what ends up happening, it's the same thing we talked about.
Yeah.
If you don't trust somebody, you're gonna naturally have defense mechanisms that are just up and on the forefront of your thoughts. Because like if you don't feel comfortable with somebody, you're new to them, and they're showing you a side of them that you just like putting up red flags. It's like you're gonna be on edge when it comes to that person. So it's like
trust your gut.
You can. What I would do in situations like that, I would test them with small things, and then when you see those small things not fulfilled, don't let them keep going, because then you're gonna end up getting really fucked. So when you see small things, you got to nip them in the bud.
That's good.
And watch what they do. So like, leave $5 out. You know what I mean? Just that $5 is gone. Just one person in my life. Little shit like that. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bad, but the bottom line is, if they're gonna leave your money alone, they're gonna leave your money alone.
Yeah.
And that's a minor example, but you get the point.
No, I do.
Leave the $5 out, and if that shit's gone, and you don't leave the $100 bill out. You know what I mean? Don't leave them alone in your house.
Yeah.
So, it's all right. So, I think you touched on this, intuition. I think that was good.
That's pretty right.
All right, so now you got it. The next one is.
The next one is huge.
Yeah, it's really, really big. It's probably gonna take up the rest of the time. Okay, so all right. So the next topic is
love.
Ooh. Okay. Well, love.
That's a hard one. It really is.
Okay.
I feel like it should come natural, but when we think about it, the definition of love, I feel like we all struggle.
I have a kind of a definition that's an interesting one. Okay, so here's how I view if I love somebody or not. Now, I do believe that there's different levels of love. I do. You can love somebody, but not be deeply. You can not be in love with them, and you can not. Okay, so here's my thing. Right, if you are deeply in love with somebody. To me, what that means is you have to have a willingness to give your life for that person, because there's no other sacrifice greater than that, in my opinion.
Definitely not.
So if that person has got a bullet coming at them, you're jumping in front of it, that sort of thing. So yeah. So now that doesn't mean that's the same love I have for like a family member or it's not. That doesn't, just because I'm a family member with somebody, I'm sorry, I'm not jumping in front of the bullet for all my family members. I'm not. Actually, when it comes to that sort of thing. There's people that are outside of my family that I would do that for. Not most of my family members I'm not doing that for. So then there's like relationship love. Now that could be as deep as that.
Yeah.
But that I use that to gauge how strongly I feel towards a person. And there's only been 2 people that I felt that deeply strongly for. Only 2 people. And one of them is my best friend, and then another one was a person that I was in love with. But I was in love with them. The love was, how do I put it? It was a love that wasn't meant to be. It was one-sided love in the sense of I was in a relationship mode with this person, but that person didn't feel that way towards me. No. But they still loved me. I have no doubt about that. Yeah. But they weren't in it the way my mind was with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was bad. That was like... When that whole thing fell apart, and it sucks because when you have bad experiences with people when it comes to love, you carry it with you for the rest of your life. People try to act like they don't, but they carry it. It defines how they react to things. It defines how they react to people. That doesn't mean you can't deal with it, get over it, move on. I'm not saying that, but it becomes when you love. So my thing is, if you really truly love somebody, you never stop loving them. Now, that doesn't mean that. You can't get in a situation where they fuck you over so bad that you hate them now. Yeah. That's not. I'm not saying that. That can definitely happen. Yeah. So, but in a general, when you're in love with somebody, they become almost part of you. Now, if a situation arises where they do you so wrong that you hate them, it can be broken like that. But in a general sense, you guys, you separate and you go your own way. You're still gonna be in love with that person. Like you have a relationship with somebody. If it's real love, that person's part of you for the rest of your life.
Definitely.
What do you think?
Well, you're right. There are different types of love. I remember learning about the Greek terms for them. There's agape, eros, storge, and I forgot the 4th one. But basically. Love of family, love of a friend, love of a lover, and love for God.
Okay.
Those are the 4 different types of love you can have for someone.
Okay.
And it's funny because, I feel like I said, everybody in their life kind of like struggles with what's love. But I never forget something that I read, and I always try to keep it in the back of my mind. So it goes like this. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not boast. Love is not haughty, does not get puffed up. Love hopes all things, endures all things, believes all things.
Wow. That was very poetic.
Um,
that was deep.
That's
shit.
actually,
This shit just got serious in here. That was deep.
I mean, I don't mean to get heavy, but
no,
it's actually from the Bible.
Wow.
And
that's nice.
I'll never forget it because, you know, sometimes as humans we need reminders, you know, like we're kind of like told what's love. Like when you're a child and you're like, oh, I watch Disney movies, you kind of like see, oh, is this what love is supposed to be like? And you feel like it's kind of like, it's like a fantasy, you know, like, or people tell us, you know, the wrong things that even though people screw you over, you're supposed to love them because they're family or they're, you know, all these things. But I feel like we all kind of seek that guidance. And when I read that, that really kind of like opened my eyes, you know. And I try to think about that, you know, like, oh, and love is not jealous. So when you think about those things, you think about what is love is not. And you kind of try to put yourself in that category and you say to yourself, okay, do I feel any of these things associated with this person? Is this real love? You know?
Wow. That's profound. So, do you think love is essential to happiness?
Yes.
So you think that a person
all need love.
So do you think a person can't go through life without feeling love?
No. I think you cannot find true happiness if you don't feel loved and you don't love. You will not find true happiness because that is something that you cultivate in your spirit. Yeah,
I agree with that. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to be in a relationship or anything like that.
No.
It's just you got to feel
just
like you matter.
Because
it like when we talk about the search for why we exist or what our purpose is.
Yeah.
One of the things that ends up happening is there's a longing to be to feel like you matter.
Yeah,
like you don't just want to be a piece of sand in a vast, a beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to feel that way. You want to feel like your life has purpose. You want to feel like it has meaning. And when it comes to love, we search out and we crave love for that very reason. You don't necessarily got to be a rock star or anything like that, but you just want to know that you kind of made your mark on the world with somebody.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you, and that was extremely profound. I've also seen love distorted. I've seen people chase after it to a fault in situations where they are completely not being loved, but they think they are, and because they're so eager to find love, they put up with behaviors that are contrary to love. Like you talked about jealousy and all these kind of things, and and a lot of these situations are really bad to the point where they
blinded.
Oh yeah, it's like getting beat, using their kids against other people. That's something that I can't stand that when you're.
Oh my God, yeah.
I can't. It pisses me off to no end.
It's sick.
You're not going to see your son anymore because you don't see me. What? You're going to take your kid away from his father because he's not interested in you anymore? Don't do that. Don't be that person.
No, that's.
And because it's like, at the point when you have a kid, when we're talking about love still. That kid is now ahead of everything else in your life.
That's everything. That should be your priority.
So when you act like that, you are damaging the kid. Don't do that. It's gonna make the kid A, hate the father, and B, potentially hate you, because you're the reason why he's not seeing his father. And then that kid now grows up having that hatred, and then it turns into
that distorted view of love.
Right. So and it manifests itself with how he deals with people that he supposedly loves. You know what I mean? And obviously, each case is different. But I think, here's another thing too, right? So I remember I told you I deal with a lot of drug deals and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the guys and obviously I'm gay, so I deal with more men. But a lot of the guys that I've dealt with, they're young guys, and they've lost. A lot of them have lost, like their parents and all that kind of stuff. So when we're talking about love, so. I get a little angry, but I understand it when I see a lot of people are very, very dismissive of drug addicts, right? Now, what it is they look at them as pathetic, giving up on their lives, weak, and all this kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Growing up, I was very battle-hardened when it comes to drugs. What I mean to say is, and we're still talking about love, by the way. What I mean to say is, I saw a lot of drug use and abuse in my family, right? Yeah. So, and when I grew up with it, so it made me become callous to people that would subject themselves to the potential of what drugs can do to them in the far-reaching tendrils of drugs, meaning that how it affects people around them and all that kind of stuff. You know, so I became very battle-hardened. I was very dismissive of people that I big time. Like, you disgust me if you're doing drugs. Like, I was like that, like hard body for real. And as I got older, I came to realize that, you know, I'm no better than them. I could be in the same position than them. I like to think that I'm strong enough to not, you know, have that happen to me. But it can happen to anybody. So so a lot of the young guys, they've lost their parents. They had some really bad hardships happen to them, and so they turn to drugs as a way of escaping the harshness of life. Yeah. And any one of us could be in that position. We act like we couldn't, but we can, right? So it's like you don't want to pass judgment on anybody. Now, that doesn't mean you got to put up with, you know, you
tough. Okay, there's such thing as tough love.
Yes, exactly.
When you love someone, you want to help, right? Right. You want to help. You don't want to judge. You want to reach your hand out and help them in this situation. And even if that means discipline, like discipline is not a bad thing. Like, discipline is loving. You're doing that to help. Oh,
I got a minor example. I think I mentioned it earlier, but my nephew today. Yeah. You're right. It's the exact same thing. He needs to learn to not lie. Yeah. And he was crying, profusely crying when this shit happened. He almost broke me. I was like, and so, what, and I'll give you the other side of it too. Okay, so, he's crying crazy. He desperately wanted to come over here to play the video games. Yeah. He did that little thing in the car, and the reason why I stood my ground is because this happened before in the past. It wasn't something that was just this one incident. You're right. So, and unfortunately, his mother doesn't stand her ground when it comes to disciplining them. Right now, I mean, I can tell you something now. She's got the older son,
the 16-year-old.
Right. He's out of control. This is as a result of her not. She loves her kids, and I love my nephews. But she's not consistent with her discipline.
You gotta crack that whip sometimes.
Right. So, you know, it was really, really, you know, bothering me. He was bawling, crying, screaming, like, it was like that. But I had to stick to it because you can't let them think you're gonna be lying and it's okay, because it leads into them doing that when they get older and in life and all that. And look at him now. He's fucking up in school, big time. He failed, you know, he doesn't even bother really going to school. All he does is focus on smoking weed, so much so that, you know, he did it here. Like, and it's crazy because in his house right now, there's nothing for him to do at all. And 16 years old, and I mean nothing. Doesn't even have his own room or anything. So he would have had free run of my place if he respected my little bit of rules. So it's like, it sucks when you got people that just addicts that don't quit, that will steal from you, and you know, it's so hard to not let that overwhelm your ability to help them, because it's tough.
I know, but that's sometimes you gotta be tough. That's what I'm saying,
it is. That's absolutely right. So
if you love someone, you gotta be tough.
I've got friends that want to just you know
that's how it's gotta be.
Would want to just take them out back and shoot them because they're a lost cause. You know, I understand what they're saying, because what it is
that's frustration.
Yes, that's exactly it. And this particular person works in the prison, so not in prison, the jail. DCJ, and you know, he sees the pattern. They go out, do their drugs, whatever, and they want to come back and get treatments and healthcare and all that kind of shit. Get the healthcare and get released and go right back to the drugs. It's like it just becomes there's a drain on society. But it's like you gotta. And I don't think I'm a bleeding heart, but you gotta focus on the psychology of these people, not their. I mean, the addiction is a mental.
It's a disease,
right? So
basically,
so if you're gonna call yourself being a person that counts themselves humanitarian and all that kind of stuff, you gotta have. There's a certain level of patience you gotta have with people.
You have to have a certain resolve to be that kind of person.
And I am that person, but I'm also not that person. Like there comes a point where I just say, fuck it, I can't help this person. I just can't. And it comes after a long. It's usually a long, you know. A long process. I think if people loved each other more, we wouldn't be in the situations we were talking about earlier with the wars and all that kind of stuff. Where people really were more compassionate towards each other, and not allowing themselves to be, manipulated to the point where they don't think about
Yeah.
what's just best for.
Even just helping each other. I mean, things like you were just saying, like watching someone getting beat up, and instead of taking a stupid video,
Stop
like an
the
asshole,
fucking fight. That's
you
right.
stop it because
So
you care, because you care about both sides.
Yeah. So it's. We're in a really, I don't know if it's because of technology we're able to see it more, or if it just is how human beings are, but it feels like we're just become just these savage creatures, like just that don't care about each other. Now, like I said earlier, I do believe a vast majority of people are good. It's just that we've allowed ourselves to become callous. So it does, like, for instance, I believe that you and I are good people, right? But are we just saying but we're not stopping what we're doing and going out and feeding the hungry, or we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So we become like callous to that sort of thing, right?
We could be doing more.
We could be doing a lot more. You know what I mean? And so, but our society has kind of allowed us to be surrounded by our things, and it puts up almost a barrier to the needs of other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think you don't necessarily have to follow what's been laid out for you in terms of the nuclear family and love. You got to, in order to have happiness, you got to find a spouse. You got to have kids. You got to, get the house.
You don't
you
have
have to do that. But
No.
I think if you surround yourself with good people that care about you, that you can interact with, that you are loved, that's enough. You know what I mean? But
definitely.
if you want those other things, and you just gotta be patient and put a little effort in, and it'll come to you. I see a lot of young people give up on love. I've seen a lot with love.
God,
I mean,
yeah.
and it's like you're just starting.
Today?
Like you're just starting. What is
know.
wrong with you? And so I don't know what's going on. It just like they have all this low self-esteem, and
God,
it's
I know.
that shit is crazy. People that are very attractive still have it. It's crazy. But so love there's so much to
Complicated.
Yeah, it's
Love can be complicated, even though it's so simple. We like to think it's so
yeah,
simple.
and right.
Unfortunately, can be complicated.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. So and then when you're in order to so you find that spouse, right, and then you wanna build a future with that spouse or person, and you wanna so what I mean to say is, I've seen couples, right, that have endured, right.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned is if they've endured because of their ability to have fights, disagreements, arguments, their ability to work those things out and move past them. Now that doesn't mean it doesn't get really fierce and nasty.
No, of
I'm not saying that, but I've seen.
perfect.
So it's like, but I've seen them be able to get through it and talk about it. Obviously, maybe not be the same day or whatever, but they talk about it, they move past it, and they grow and they move forward. And I was actually, some of them I've been really surprised. I'm like, damn, you guys fight like cats and dogs. Like, shit you shouldn't even be fighting about. But they work it out. And to me though, one of the things that I think people should try to do when it comes to their significant other is try their best to not allow the outside influence of the world impact their relationship.
Oh my God,
so
yes.
it's like
That's
so you're
so true.
you get so stressed out about life that you and naturally you it sucks, but you naturally the familiarity breeds contempt. You're gonna naturally take it out on the person that's close.
That quote.
Yeah, you're gonna naturally
so
take it out on the
intense.
person next to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna do that. So you can recognize you're doing it and stop yourself from doing it, catch yourself. I think that's very beneficial to any
Especially
relationship.
if you love someone.
Right, so that the one person you should be able to be around and be comfortable and safe and all that is your significant other.
Of course.
Or your so I've even seen it with mother-son type stuff. I've seen it where they it's like,
anyone, a best friend.
what the fuck are they talking to each other like? What the fuck? You really your mother and son? What? But love is it's hard. Putting yourself, you make yourself really vulnerable to anybody when you really go in and allow yourself to fully embrace the idea of loving somebody else fully.
Well,
you're very vulnerable.
That that does tie into the first question. That is what makes us human.
Yes, that's true.
These
That's definitely part of
emotions.
it.
I think
I wonder what.
love especially is like the most obscure but really grand emotion that we could display. The highest among them all. Out of everything, out of fear, out of compassion. Well, love can motivate anything good.
That's true.
That's what makes us human.
I wonder. I wish I could find out what animals actually feel. Is it all instinctual? Because there's animals that stay together for. That's it. They get one mate,
like wolves,
and they're done.
They're made for life.
Yeah, they're done. They're not knowing. So it's like if it's just it could be just instinctual, but
I believe that's just how animals are programmed.
But some of them,
programmed for their like environment.
Some of them are one and done.
Their
done with you next.
Advancement.
Yeah.
That's purely for the advancement of their species.
So you think animals they're just completely instinctual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do, I mean, I think they have a measure of love, but that goes upon instinct. They want to take care. They want to nurture.
Yeah.
They want to provide for.
Right. Like
even if you're a human and you have an interaction, like let's say your cat. Your cat accepts you as a part of the pack,
right.
per se, but at the same time doesn't discern whether it should fuck up your carpet or not because it loves you. It's going to do it anyways.
Piss of your fucking
you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to think about it.
Definitely struggling with that right now. These fucking cats and that piss smell is driving me nuts. I was going to get rid of them at one point, but I couldn't handle it. What the fuck is going on? I need it to not be here. I can't stand it. Anyway. I mean, we could talk about love for probably. We if we want. Let's move on to the next topic. That was a good one.
I don't even remember what.
Media manipulation.
That's
is the next
a huge one.
Yeah.
Media manipulation.
So what are your initial thoughts on that? This is a topic that goes into so much. This is going to end up. I have to pull myself back when it comes to this one a little bit because this is going to turn. It's going to get into areas that are going to stuff I could talk about all night. So I'm gonna cut it. I'm not gonna cut it, but I'm gonna try to pull it back a little bit because it's gonna. What are your initial thoughts?
Oh my god,
on it?
I have. Okay, well, one of them, literally was, watching this program, the other day, and it was on the wonders of the world.
Like the pyramids, that type of thing?
No, like the mysteries of the world, things that are like obscure.
Was that like on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, I was starting to watch that, but I
saw this particular one where via satellite they saw a huge. They said never have they ever seen such a huge tsunami before ever in the middle of the ocean, heading towards Japan, right? And it literally stopped. It just stopped out of nowhere. It was just crazy. Anyway, so they were going on about it, and they were talking about how basically the government in the past has quote unquote manipulated the weather before, and how they have planted bombs underneath in the ocean to simulate waves and everything to test them out. Anyway, so that got me wondering, and I was like, wow, maybe this whole thing on weather manipulation is definitely a thing. We always hear about odd weather and where the hell this comes from, this bizarre acid rain, holes in the ozone layer. Anyway, so with that in mind, I went to the movies, right?
Okay.
Went to the movies, just watching a damn movie, and oh cool, something fun, take my mind off things. And I was watching previews, and this movie came up where basically there was supposed to be this giant satellite thing in the sky that messed with the Earth's weather so bad that the Earth went out of whack, and everything, literally all the elements basically destroyed the Earth.
Oh, shit.
And I was sitting there holy shit. So here, this quote-unquote concept of this this fantasy movie, this may happen, and I literally just watched a documentary on how they could possibly manipulate the weather, and here it is for fun and entertainment on the screen as something fantasy and far-fetched.
Oh gosh! So from my experience,
here we go.
A lot of the things that end up happening or that could happen, they're advertised, if you will, in movies.
Exactly.
The movies tell you the future.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
basically,
we're getting into an area where we're going to start talking about things that people will consider conspiracy type stuff. Now, so my thing about this sort of thing is there's only so much coincidence when it comes to conspiracy type stuff. And now, most of the stuff that was considered conspiracy stuff is now just blatantly talked about.
Yep.
And it's not, so it's in your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even, so people are they have this cognitive dissonance, if you will, approach to things that they don't want to engage with because it's overwhelming.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? I'm like,
yeah.
They openly talk about it now. And one of my biggest ones is the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah.
So the Federal Reserve, as everyone should know by now, is a private organization that controls our monetary system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what amazes me is this is now a known, factual, open thing. This is the same system that is reaching its tendrils around the world, covertly taking over the world, right? Now, people are going to, oh, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Like, you're going to sit there and tell me our Federal Reserve System is not a privately owned organization that is not policed by any agency in our government? You're going to tell me that? Because that's the truth.
Huh.
Right? So, now that same agency also controls our corporations, which also control our media, which also control how we view things in the world. And now, as a result of the internet, which the internet changed the game. It changed the game in the sense that now you have a way to reach the world, and you don't got to go through these corporations, these agencies, and all that kind of thing. So now they're sort of threatened by the internet. And I don't know if you noticed, but they're starting.
Things are monitored.
Yeah, they're starting to slowly, truly police information and what's allowed on the internet. So the FCC is currently being attacked in the sense that these elements of control that are above our government are now using the FCC to block stuff that they don't want people to see. And I remember there were some laws passed under the Obama administration that on the surface looked good, but then they had these little provisions in them that allowed certain things that would be detrimental to free speech.
Yep.
And on the internet. So unfortunately, we don't pay attention the way we should. And so when it comes to certain and like people have this false faith in politicians that they're going to do what's best for us, and it's amazing that not everyone doesn't react the way you did when something like that is said, and they don't. It's like we're under this false. We have what I would consider a false womb around us. A false womb in the sense of that we have this.
We're in a utopia,
right?
Quote,
so
unquote.
We have this false idea that we're in control of our government. We're in control of. We have this They're protecting us. They're looking out for our best interests, and it's like when you really start to peel away the layers, the rabbit hole goes very, very deep. And unfortunately, when I started getting into this, I understand it, but you got to be able to pull it back and be able to not be overwhelmed by it. So what I mean to say is, when you start going down the hole goes so deep that you're going to end up in hell. Mentally.
Tell me about
right?
it.
So there's things that have been manipulated that are completely unbelievable and overwhelming. It's so far reaching.
Even the news.
That's a major. And so the news credibility now is at an all-time low. People don't trust it. Nobody trusts the news anymore. They're now turning to alternative media, and they don't like it. The powers that be don't like it. So now they're attacking alternative media. So what I was saying was, hell, figuratively in this instance refers to the idea that when you see how far the manipulation goes, you become overwhelmed, and to the point where you can't function. You don't want to live life anymore because everything you know is not real.
Well, a lot of these things are also they're beyond anything. They're almost sinister in origin.
Oh,
it's
yes.
like pure
you know what's,
evil.
Listen, you know
pure
what?
Evil.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Now,
Evil.
okay, so we're gonna. I knew this was gonna happen, but it's all right. So
let's go. Let's get
we
it
talked about. So you talked about evil, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest concerns I have when it comes to the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
right? I'm not a religious man, and what this stems from is, my mother is a religious fanatic, right?
Uh-huh.
So the reason I say that is because growing up, my mother embraced religion because she went through some serious hardships in life and she had nothing else to turn to. Yeah. So she became completely engulfed in it, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not, it's not. But what I mean to say is, now her view on our existence is so deeply religiously ingrained, if I'm saying that right, that it now was pushed onto her children, right?
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, she also developed a mental disorder from the hardship she endured, and it manifested itself, and it had religious overtones to it. Huh. For example, she would go out and walk into traffic because she felt that God would protect her. Now, okay, so understand, I'm trying to paint a picture of why I feel the way I do with religion, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Now I'm the kid that has to endure the next day all the children talking about that person that went outside naked because that's how God meant us to be. That sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But so what I was getting at was, in terms of the hell of the rabbit hole, there are some very significant religious overtones to the highest levels of the manipulation of everything. So what it does is it gives me pause when it comes to my thoughts about religion, because initially I felt that religion it is a tool used to control people. Now the thing about it is that doesn't mean that you can't take away positive things from religion. I would never sit here and attack the basic foundations of the positive aspects of religion. You know what I mean? I would never do that. But what I will do is I would ask those people, for example, black people that blindly follow Christianity, and they don't look at the origins of how Christianity was used to enslave them. They don't even look at it. And it's like anybody that follows, specifically black people, because I like to use them for just to give the example of the controls. Religion, it was, something that they gave to black people to make them feel like they had something to live for. Do you know what I'm saying? It was used to mentally fuck them over, and they don't question it. So because when you get into the rabbit hole so deeply, the religious satanic overtones of everything are over Hollywood, over TV, and it's blatant now.
Our own dollar bill.
Everything has religious satanic overtones to it. There was a point where I saw a breakdown of all of the nations of the world and the continents and all that, and it had a religious connection to it, a satanic religious connection to it, and unfortunately, it made a lot of sense. Now, here's the thing about it, right? I told you this is going to get. Here's the thing about it, right? So, when you are at the highest level of science, of technology, of what man can achieve, right? That means that you have access to things that the average person is not going to have access to. What I mean to say is, it would imply that you have some knowledge of something that the average person does not. These people are out there doing these crazy fucking rituals, satanic overtones, and I mean crazy, eating children, drinking blood. I mean crazy shit. A lot of this has been documented. A lot of this has been talked about by people that have endured some of these rituals in order to get further in their industry. Some of this shit is leaking out now. The pedophile rings are being attacked now. You know what I mean? It's just, and all that shit is connected. From what I'm seeing, obviously, I haven't done my own investigative journal. I didn't, but it's all connected, and it all has satanic religious overtones to it. So what I was saying was, that gives me pause as to what they know if they're going to support the satanic side of things. What is on the other side that they want to fight against? Now, here's the thing about it, right? So you would think, in terms of the idea of what religion represents from a heaven-hell standpoint, right? So if you know that you could potentially go to heaven and live a eternal life and happiness, whatever, right? You would think that side would be embraced, right? And if you're going to say that there's a devil, that means you have to accept the idea that there's an angel or God or whatever, right? Because if you're going to go with the satanic side of it, why are you going to ignore that other side of it? That doesn't really make sense to me. I guess you can embrace one side and say fuck the other, but that doesn't make sense to me. What does make sense to me is what I've seen. What I have seen is, and this is the ultimate goal for these fucking bastards, right? So what I'm saying here is, from what I've seen, they're using our monetary system and us, the cattle, to achieve an affront to God. What I mean to say is, now I'm going to use technology to become immortal, to give you the middle finger because you decided that I'm only allowed to live on the earth a certain amount of years or whatever, and that's it. But now I'm going to defy you. And I'm going to use technology to allow my consciousness to be put into a robot, or allow my organs to be, not my organs to be harvested, but to be like stem cell research, all that shit. And it's an achievement over God. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm getting at here?
I do.
And all right. So me not being a religious person, that gave me pause, because it's like, if there is no true devil, heaven, hell, all that kind of stuff, why would they have those satanic religious overtones and take it so far and manipulate the world behind it to achieve this?
Against who?
Right. So it's like, and so
for what?
Everything that I've seen leads to the idea that they want to achieve immortality through technology, to defy God and to defy the powers that be. So,
that cracks a whole new.
Yeah, it's right. So,
that's like boom.
Yeah, so so, and that was the one point where I was like, what the fuck? What is really going on? Because all throughout life I was like, nah, I'm just worms, and when you die it's worms, that's it. You know what I mean? So it's like, that was the only thing that I've seen throughout life that really, really gave me pause. And it, unfortunately, me specifically, when it comes to religion, I've been bombarded so much with stuff dealing with my mother that it makes me apprehensive.
It kind of turned you off,
right? But hard body though. It doesn't mean that I can't listen to certain things and try to pull information and gather. But on the basis of what I've seen when it comes to religion, organized religion is bad. That's my personal opinion of it. But what I will say is, it doesn't mean there aren't positive aspects of it. And if a person can find a positive thing to attach themselves to and be able to live a happy life, I'm all for it. I have nothing against that. Yeah. But like when you look at organized religion and its impact on the world, and you start to piece together.
What's involved with politics?
Yeah, and the Vatican and all that shit is deeply involved in. So it's like, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way if it's truly what it pretends to be. It shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So, we're talking about media manipulation, and when we get into that, it goes so deep, and so even when it comes to food, right?
Oh my God.
When I say media, I'm talking about all media. I'm talking about TV. I'm talking about the news. I'm talking about the internet. I'm talking about your phone. I'm talking about all the technology, and it's tools to be able to manipulate and control the masses. And we've unfortunately fallen for it because it allowed ourselves to be entertained in life. So when you when we're talking about the meaning of life and what it means to be alive, what it means to enjoy life, we are slowly allowing technology to take the place of
our humanity.
Right.
Our humanity.
And that's exactly what I think the powers that be want. I think that's exactly they want zombies. I have a picture on my phone where it's a bunch of people's bodies together, right? It's all the same body, and the tops of their heads are their brains are being there's like a puppet master on their brains, and their faces are glued to their phones.
Oh my! I've seen that picture.
Yeah, and I had it from the background for a while.
Oh my god, that was so scary.
Yeah, so
when I saw that, I was like, "This is
accurate. Yeah, and so
you know,
it really tells you what that picture really breaks down what's really going on. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Of course.
When we talk about manipulation, you know, people, they don't. I think people in a general sense don't want to know the truth because they can't handle it. And
that just means you're manipulated.
Right. And it sucks because if people in a general sense don't come together, this is why I found newfound hope because of Trump, in the sense that people are not paying attention. Not that he's, you know, the best guy for the job. I'm like, it's a sad day in America when Donald Trump is I'm still, sometimes I tell myself, Donald Trump's the actual fucking president. What the fuck is wrong with us?
I know.
You do what I'm saying? We're so fucked up that we allowed this guy to become president. That doesn't mean I didn't support him when it was happening. I supported him with the idea that maybe this nutball would do something outside of the regular politicians. That's the only reason because I have no faith in our political system. None.
No,
I don't.
No.
But I was like, all right, maybe this outsider might do something. I kind of knew better because of his level of involvement monetarily.
Yeah.
Obviously, around that level, you but there's a chance he has his own money, so maybe he's got to be the manipulator. You know what I mean? But I would, and to this day, I would still have rolled the dice. But he's doing the same fucking shit as the other ones have done. It doesn't nothing.
Broken promises.
Yeah. So people are so eager to grasp
lies.
The what they truly hope to happen, I guess. But you're right. And I'm not mad at that. And you want to, go for the guy that's going to have your best interest. I get that. But you also have to be vigilant in your reaction to what he does or doesn't do. Yeah. So if he ends up sucking, you need to be there saying, you fucked us over. And don't use kind words. I'm sick of the political correct.
Oh, my God.
I can't. So you never see anybody just saying, like, if I was to be interviewed about stuff that's going on, I would literally be saying, what the actual fucking fuck is going on? Why is nobody having a real reaction to this fucked up shit?
I know.
Like, are you people insane? Do you see what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? It's like, nobody has any passion anymore.
I know.
And,
You just take it.
Yeah, but here, part of it is, people are so ingrained with this idea of individual survival that they will never, and I'm sorry, I don't have any faith in people anymore. You call me what you want, but I just don't. They will never have a willingness to take the place of the person that is the guy speaking out for you. What I mean to say is,
oh my God,
when you have this guy who is the figurehead, who's the face of your movement, he gets taken out. Every single person that's following that guy has to have a willingness to take his place. Otherwise, because they can't deal with all of us. Yeah. They can't. They can take out your leaders.
Yeah.
But if everybody steps up each time that happens, what are they going to do? Imagine tomorrow.
Nobody wants to do that.
No, and it's sad.
They only care about themselves and their own little bubble
life.
And
we've allowed ourselves to be divided by Republican, Democrat, black, white, rich, poor. And it's like, you guys are so stupid. You fall for this shit every fucking time. And it's like, people get mad when you talk about false flags, 9/11, and all this kind of shit. You're like, look what the result of those attacks were. They now have damn near destroyed the Constitution. Something that is also not had much power in reality since I think it was 39 or something like that. I don't remember the dates, but again, it goes to this idea of a false womb that we think we have. Mm-hmm. The laws that were passed after 9/11, people were so eager to jump around the bandwagon, but they didn't realize it was infringing on their rights,
on our privacy, on
our security. The shit that they sell and surveil now, and the whole shit with Edward Snowden and all this fucking shit. Yeah. That stuff is all real. They have databases with our information, and they're monitoring all kind of shit under the guise of security. That false womb I was talking about. Yep. And unfortunately, we talk about why haven't they rolled out their martial laws and all that kind of shit? Well, I can tell you from my perspective and things that I've seen, and sadly, I've spent a lot of time looking at what would be considered conspiracy stuff. Hours. I would do all-nighters, hours and hours and hours, and I had to stop doing that because I got overwhelmed with negative thoughts. I just got too overwhelmed. So, but what I will say is, technology is now catching up to a point where they're going to be able to use technology to fuck us over and not to worry about sending out troops.
Of course.
You're gonna get to a point where you got Terminator situation where the computers and technology and frequencies and all this shit, they're gonna, like, you talked about that.
It's already starting to happen.
You talked about that bomb that they dropped.
Yeah.
Right. That's a precursor to technologies that are much far advanced than that. That's what it is. If you, whatever you see, they're probably 10 years past that. Anything you see out here right now, they're probably 10 years. So, unfortunately, by the time people wake up, it's going to be too late. They want to chip us. They're doing it right now with our credit cards and our. If you notice, all our cards now got the little gray chip. That chip is.
Have to insert the chip.
Yes, that's you can now monitor people's movements, and also with the phones.
Yeah.
You can monitor people's movements, and let's say you got this guy running his mouth on the internet about all this stuff. Yep. So, if we want to know and take this guy out, how hard is it to do now? How hard is it to find John Winfrey now? It's easy, and if you have the actual government apparatus that does that, and they want to add that into what's already out there for you and I to use, come on. And people are they're embracing it because what it is they are programming young people to embrace technology so that embrace it so that when they want to introduce look at the cool chip you can implant into your hand or your forehead or whatever.
Shit, yeah.
Now listen to this shit. So the implant, it's been tested already in Mexico.
Oh my!
People have it and they've embraced it because now I don't gotta use it. I could just use my hand to pay my bills with my hand, and all my medical stuff is on my hand. And yes, but they don't look at the negative side of it, right?
My God.
Now listen to this shit, right?
That's
so
crazy.
When you talk about the chip, right? The chip, they talk about there's a religious overtone to that in the sense that chip represents the mark of the beast. It gets crazy, Leslie.
Oh my!
It gets fucking crazy. I know. I told you it was gonna get crazy. When we got into the government division, I told you it was gonna get crazy.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah, it gets fucking crazy. So like the satanic overtones to the decisions that are being made, they're so far-reaching. It gives me such pause that I don't even. It's like. What do they fucking know? You know what I mean? Why would you embrace that evil, negative, blood-drinking, baby-killing, pedophile side of things, as opposed to going on the side of light, which I come to find out also. And anything that I say here, I would suggest that you do your own research on and look at for yourself. Don't just listen to some crazy guy ranting about conspiracies. No. What I'm telling you is look up the shit yourself. These things that I'm telling you, they're all on the internet. It's all out there.
Yeah.
Look at it, and all I'm saying is don't ignore it. Go find out for yourself and decide what you want to believe. You know what I mean? Because people are very quick to, that conspiracy is crazy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my no.
And what that does is it allows people that are controlling you to continue to control you because you don't question anything. Now, I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but so now they've also gone into colleges and have now infiltrated and now have indoctrination in colleges where they have they're teaching young people to think a certain way, but not actually pay attention. And that's evident when you look at college campuses and how they interact with any type of adversity, how they interact with differences of opinion. They don't allow it. They shut it down. They attack. They can't have open debate anymore. They can't handle it.
They do it in high school too.
Yeah, and
I've been shot down plenty myself.
Right. So it's like these are all precursors to the ultimate way of controlling people, and they don't see it. These are when you don't allow somebody to speak, you are attacking free speech. Like, how do you even?
Another infringement.
And hello, that's going to affect you. And if they pass a law, that law is going to affect you. If a law attacks free speech, that law affects you too. At the point where you don't have open debate, you cannot grow. You cannot learn. So we were talking about manipulation and media manipulation, and that it's so far-reaching that it opens up a whole can of stuff. Yeah, I told you it was gonna get
everything. The whole fucking world is just open.
Okay, so I think I didn't mean to get crazy there. I knew it was gonna happen, but
these are facts,
I think we had a
facts.
really great session. I think we're gonna it went. I like to do an hour. I mean, I can if I have it planned where I have the night open, I'll just keep going. I don't care.
I know.
But we want to. We're gonna cut this one short. We got halfway. Is that what we did?
Yeah.
We got halfway? Well, that's good. That we could do the other ones.
This stuff is heavy.
We could do the. Yeah, it's crazy. It gets really crazy.
Yeah,
So,
We take it one big question at a time.
Yeah, we got about halfway.
Definitely.
There's some good ones coming up though. Oh, we got into a little bit on number 6 there with the technology.
Yeah, we did good.
It goes further though.
We did good.
Okay, so we'll say those words. So okay, thank you for coming to the show, Leslie. It was fantastic. I had a great discussion with you.
Yeah, definitely.
I appreciate our listeners, and I hope to have you listen again on the next Mood Room. Today the Mood Room. We were in the mood to talk about your various topics. See how that works into the Mood Room. All right, thanks for listening. Have a great night or day or whatever. Bye. Where's my cursor? We're still going. There it is. It's on the other page.